Hello to all Ghana-loving Ghanaians around the world. Message coming to you from the point of country and people, where it's all about patriotism with the hope for a better Ghana. Yes, the destabilization or the breaking down of democracy in the West African sub-region is becoming concerning. And so we say, what is Ghana learning from all the destabilizations going on? At least we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the most recent one, our most neighboring country, Burkina Faso. The military has taken over. Now, before I cited some of the concerns that our political leaders have to be careful not to become complacent or power drunk and become unconscious of what their actions, the words they speak, the things they tell Ghanaians can cause. Because the military are Ghanaians as well. Don't think because they are in uniform they cease to be Ghanaians. They are actually Ghanaians with responsibility to defend the nation both domestically and internationally. And as our previous president, the former president, Jerry John Rowley said, of course, when it comes to these things, he is an expert. And if he says something, we might as well take it seriously. In that he said, no individual can instigate the military to take any action in Ghana. But the state of the country would determine if the military will take action or not. In my previous video, after Professor Kwesi Enim cited very vital, important structures and instruments that he believes or he said are being eroded within our democracies in the sub-region, is the reason. He cited the lack of transparency, lack of rule of law, probity, respect for human rights. How can we, if we are asked to speak on these things as far as Ghana is concerned, can we say that we are up to scratch as far as rule of law when it comes to our political leaders abiding by rule of law, accountability, transparency? What can we say about their behavior? It is not the individuals on the street that is going to cause problems. They are not in place to do anything. As of today, the 1st of February 2022, is in the news that there's been it is possible there is a military action going on in Guinea-Bissau because there were some gunshots being heard around the presidential palace. It's concerning. And one of the things that Professor Kwesi Enim cited when he was participating in a talk show during the Guinea coup is that the gradual incremental erosion of personal freedoms, of constitutional rights. What can be said of Ghana in that capacity? Notwithstanding the daring of Ghanaians by our political leaders. And I'll read some comments, especially when it comes to the introduction, the attempt to introduce the E-Levy. There's been some very unacceptable statements being made by our political leaders. Statements that fuel anger. Statements that when you go to the column of where people can comment on what they think about what is being broadcast or being said via the media, you will notice that Ghanaians are not happy. So what is our government going to do about this? How are they going to make sure they will guarantee the happiness, the joy, the peace, the rule of law of Ghanaians? Because one thing remains, the military, their disposition is to defend country and people, domestically and internationally. And so if there's no international threat, and there is a domestic threat, who knows what they're going to do? Ronnie said the state of the country does. The last time I said it, somebody wrote a comment and said, Ghana is solid. let's not be partisan about this. Ghana is solid. In which area? In my previous video, just a couple of days ago, what did I say? The 344.5 billion debt ceiling or debt that Ghana is set to owe. Where is it? Infrastructurally, socially, economically. Where is it? Apart from our resources, what is the revenue from our resources? What are they being used for? That we have to endlessly borrow to deliver or to sustain the budget that we have put in place. Okay, so why don't we put the budget in place within our means? For instance, this is what one political leader said, which is concerning. Where is it? I will say that in a minute. It says what? How do you tell Ghanaians that E-Levy proceeds to be used as collateral to borrow 70 billion? And this 70 billion, are we going to see it? Are we going to begin to see dual carriage roads becoming an agenda to minimize road traffic accidents that has consumed so many lives? We as a country owe 344.5 billion. Look at our roads. Look at where our children go to school. One came along, E-Levy will stop us from begging or borrowing. If the gold, cocoa, manganese, bauxite, diamond, oil, all these resources that form the backbone of many nations cannot stop us from borrowing. This E-Levy that is forecasted to be 7 billion, I think 7 billion thereabout, they said it's forecasted to be, I think, yearly, is going to stop Ghana from borrowing? How do you say? You see, when you say those things to Ghanaians, it fuels anger because it seems to suggest we are stupid and foolish. We don't understand anything. If all the resources that we have cannot generate revenue to stop Ghana from borrowing money, even the borrowing I have concern because this International Monetary Fund, I don't think that is fair to Ghana. It's largely, disproportionately not beneficial to Ghana. How do we benefit from this IMF system? What do we benefit from it? How long have we been part of it? And what benefit have we gained? That's a fact. And our leaders play along with it. It's about time that we get some hardcore, strong backbone leaderships that will challenge this system that is disproportionately disadvantaged to Ghana for being part of the IMF. Another statement, E-Levy will provide more jobs. Gold could not provide more jobs. Cocoa could not provide more jobs. Timber, bauxite, manganese. The list continues. Oil could not provide more jobs. And then you are now telling us that E-Levy that is estimated to be about 7 billion, I think, it would generate, if ever passed, is going to help more jobs. You say these things. At least account for the monies you have borrowed so far. What have you done with it? And these are some of the things that could trigger. These are the things that determine the state of the country. And as Rollins have said, the state of the country will determine if the military will take an action or not. So our political leaders should ask themselves, including the president, what state are they? What do they think the state of Ghana is? But if I read the comments and I'm reading them right, Ghanaians are dissatisfied with how things are at the moment. And it gives me concern, especially for our neighboring country just north of us to become the next victim where the democracy has been dissolved and the constitution shelved. We have to be careful. I'll read one more because I thought to talk about it. Burkina Faso went to bed on Sunday, Monday, that's it. Just like it was in Guinea. We as Ghanaians don't want to go to bed one Sunday night and wake up and said, yes, curfew. And wake up, they said, okay, you see military cars all over the place because they said they have dissolved the government and suspend the constitution. We don't want that to happen. But the way our leaders are going, the sort of comments they're making on radio and television, daring Ghanaians, forgetting that the military are also Ghanaians. They are not foreigners. And they feel the pain Ghanaians feel. And the E-Levy that you want to introduce, the military are not exempt. The police are not exempt. They are all part of it. They are all going to suffer it together with Ghanaians. So we have to be careful. Somebody have to say these things. From a country and people point of view, no partisan sentiments. I'll read one more and I'll stop. Right. Accept the E-Levy, I will provide more jobs. That's said to be coming from the president. 344.5 billion loans taken. You have not provided more jobs. Is it the E-Levy that is disproportionately, that's a margin of what we owe already that is going to help you provide more jobs? If you want to provide more jobs, you will provide more jobs. I don't want to talk about the private jet. There's one particular comment that is, here we go. This gentleman says that we as a government will pass the E-Levy. Nobody can do anything about it. These are uprising causing statements. These are statements that trigger military action. What is his name? As though the government is on its own. The government is the representation of the people. So if the people are resentful towards a certain attempt to introduce certain systems, it is good enough to go back to the drawing table and reconsider what other options we have, especially with the trend that we are having in the sub-region. We've got to be careful. We love our fourth republic and we want it to continue. But with the things I'm hearing, our political leaders, some of them are even MPs. It's disheartening, it's worrying. We as a government will pass E-Levy and nobody can do anything about it. You and who is this? Is it a Nyaso or so? I'm not sure about this word. A Nyaso MP. What's his name? Member of Parliament for Nyaso in the Ashanti region, Stephen Amwa, has said the E-Levy, which has been vehemently opposed by the minority. No, it is not being opposed by the minority only. Ghanaians are opposing it. Don't deceive yourself. It's not a minority thing. Ghanaians are opposing it. So if you think it's just NDC that is opposing it, you better rethink. Mr. whatever the name is, Mr. Honorable MP Stephen Amwa. It is not just the minority. Ghanaians are opposing it. Opposed by minority in parliament will be passed and the minority can do nothing about it. Yes, the minority can do nothing about it. In Guinea, the minority couldn't do anything about the president changing the constitution to have a third term, but the military did. In Burkina Faso, the minority could not do anything about not equipping the soldiers to fight terrorism in their country, but the soldiers were able to do it. So when you begin to make these kind of statements, these are the statements that destabilize a country. And therefore, our political leaders have to become careful, especially some of these arrogant MPs. Till I come your way.